Hi everyone, it's Rachel here. Today I want to talk about 5 books that I really want to read in 2017. I did a similar list last year and failed miserably. But this year I think I have a better plan and I'm going to attempt to read all the books that I am going to discuss today. These are all books that I'm excited about, books that have been really buzzy, that are either new or just all around popular books that I've just never gotten around to reading. The other reason I want to mention this is that I'm potentially looking for buddies to buddy up with, to read these books with. So if you haven't read these books as well and are interested in doing so in the next year, please let me know. Let's just jump in. The first book I want to mention is Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton. And you may not know this, but I am a huge dinosaur fan. I love dinosaurs. I drag my husband to the dinosaur museums around Canada and I just love dinosaurs, particularly raptors. It's something a lot of my friends joke about. But even though I'm a huge fan of these prehistoric monsters, I have never read the classic book that the movies was based off of. And I really want to change that. So I for sure want to pick this one up this year. I'm very excited to get to it. I've also started reading more science fiction lately, so I think this is the right year to do that. And I just think it'll be a lot of fun. I'm hoping it's just a fun thriller and lots of dinosaurs, hopefully some raptors, and I'm looking forward to that one quite a bit. Another book I'm definitely going to get to this year is The Dead House by Dawn Kurvich, and I've heard so much about this book, particularly from Charley's channel, which I'm going to link down below. She reads a lot of fantastic psychological thrillers and horror, and just been raving about this book. This is a young adult book which is told in kind of a multimedia form. I understand it's about a young woman who potentially has some personality disorder, where she has one personality during the day and then another one takes over at night. It's supposed to be super creepy. And again, I really love those books that incorporate pictures and documents within the book itself. I've been holding off reading this at the end of the year because I wanted to include it in this list, but I don't think I'll be waiting much longer. I really want to pick that one up. Charley has been raving about it and it's about time I got to it. I also want to read, or at least attempt to read, a book that is so out of my comfort zone, and that is Sorcerer to the Crown by Zen Cho. This is a high fantasy book, which is not something I read, but I would like to try to read more of that, and particularly I want to read this one because in the last year I've become a huge fan of the Book Riot website and their podcast, and they have been raving about this book forever since it came out, and the buzz has worked and I just want to check it out for myself. I think the sequel is coming out next year and I just want to get caught up, see what it's like. So again, that might end up being a DNF if it's too different for me, but I want to at least attempt it. It's supposed to be really fun. A story about a world of magic in which I believe women don't do magic or aren't allowed to, and of course the world finds out that there's actually some really powerful female magicians, wizards out there, whatever it is, and the story is supposed to be super feminist and very inclusive with lots of diverse characters, and I just gotta check it out. So hopefully that goes well. That's the most tenuous book on this list. I'm definitely gonna try it, but I don't know how it's gonna go. Now I know I needed at least one adult thriller on this list, so I decided to add The Girl in 6E by A.R. Torr, and this is an erotic psychological thriller about a woman who is a cam girl. Basically, she locks herself in her apartment because she has killer desires and is afraid that she's going to kill someone because she has these terrible urges to murder people, but in order to avoid doing that, she's locked herself in her apartment and works as a cam girl so that she doesn't have to interact with people in real life. It's definitely a different book. I've heard it described as a lot of fun, very addictive, and I think at some point this year that's going to be a super fun book to pick up, and I'm really looking forward to that one. It's been on my TBR off and on for a while, but I just haven't actually gotten down to reading it, so looking forward to that one for sure. Finally, I want to mention a book that has been recommended to me so many times, and that is Stormfront by Jim Butcher. This is the first book in a series about a wizard detective, and I've heard such good things about it. It's been recommended to me from other booktubers, friends on Goodreads, as well as my sister-in-law just recently over Christmas said I would really like it. I don't read a lot of urban fantasy, which is what this is, but I of course read a lot of mysteries, and I find that crossovers where there are books with either fantasy or sci-fi elements that also have that mystery detective aspect to it work really well for me. So I'm definitely excited to pick this one out. I've heard it's really good on audio. I may not be able to get a copy of it that way, so I might read the actual book, but definitely looking forward to it. It's been recommended so many times. I've heard so many good things about it. It sounds like just a fun, lighthearted book, but I didn't want to put too many really difficult books on this list, which I've done in previous years, and then I feel intimidated and don't end up reading these. So I feel like I picked out 5 great books for the next year. These are books that have just been on my TBR for too long, or they're big and buzzy and I just need to get around to reading them, and I don't want to hold off another year. Again, if you're interested in reading one of these with me, let me know. I don't know exactly what time of year I'll be reading these, but I'm hopefully going to have them all done before the year is out. Thanks so much for watching. Talk to you again soon. Okay, bye-bye.